everything we do wherever we are. What I've been asked to do today is to try to facilitate a meeting-type scenario in which we discuss next steps for supporting the ongoing blockade, the ultra-complex blockade in Rexton, New Brunswick. And I wasn't 100% certain on how we're going to do that. I think the first step for that kind of discussion is to have everyone come in way closer, because this is going to involve other people talking mostly, and passing around the megaphone might be a little cumbersome for that. With that said, I think I want to look in the direction of the people who organize this event to maybe start with talking a little bit about what some of their ideas are for potential next steps. If nobody wants to do that, I have other potential ideas for ways to start. Anyone? John, do you or anyone have something to start us off with the discussion, do you think?
From what I've gathered on the news channel the last little while is that last night the RCMP were prepared to move into the different encampments there. I think there's one, and also the main encampment in the Mi'kmaq Nation there in Rexton, New Brunswick. Does anybody know exactly how far that is from here?
Police have closed off the province.
Oh, the police have closed off pretty much the access, all access roads into the province. Hey.
Harris made a statement that you'll use whatever means necessary to teach the Indians the rule of law. Harper.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I guess the Harper government is pretty much is on the offensive against the people there, and will use any resources to quell the protesters there. Also, we have non-native people also affected there, so they organized. I think it was yesterday. They had 200 people in the rally, so welcome to the non-native people too in our struggle. This is just not our struggle, but it's everybody's struggle. I don't know how if anybody else has more information, but come on up and Alex will have some information for us.
So I've been able to talk to several people who are still on the ground out in Rexton, as well as people who have been and back. And one of the things I think is important for us to recognize here is that a lot like the situation that a lot of people remember in 2006 at Six Nations, just outside of Caledonia at the Canistado site, is that there will be lots and lots of police motion and movement around this site over the coming months. People are very dug in and plan to not let these trucks in. It's also important for people to know that all the SWN trucks are gone. There aren't actually, they have gotten rid of them. And so that part of what I'm saying is that we need to be able to, I think, one of the things we need to be able to do is respond if there is another incident, but at the same time not to overreact every time the police are moving cars around. It sounds like yesterday in Rexton there were repeated warnings that a raid was imminent, but people who had been out at other such occupations could see that that wasn't actually what was happening. And so it's important not to overreact to things we see on social media, but there will be need for ongoing solidarity. And it is very likely that there will be more major incidents over the coming weeks and months. And having responses ready and being able to show ongoing solidarity is going to be really important. And I think what we're looking for here is suggestions for next steps. If there's anyone who has, a vision they've been thinking about or ideas about how we can mobilize around that, I think this is the time to start calling people up to the megaphone and want to talk.
Okay, so I've been listening to the story because a lot of people think that the word lot of the organizers for Idle No More. One of the first movements that I came to for Idle No More was to dance for everything, and through research I actually developed a better understanding of what's going on. I am Mi'kmaq, I'm from Eskasoni. My goddaughter's from Espanagooch, which is Burn Church. They're right next to Elsipogtog, which is Big Cove. I know one of the biggest things and most important things is legal backing. Having funds to defeat them in court, to be able to be bailed out, to be able to get supplies. A lot of what can happen is simple. It's taco fundraisers, corn soup. We could even do a little blanket dance here today and raise some money. As it stands, they needed $7,000 for tomorrow, and they only need $1,000 more. And I think that everyone together, every time they're putting on one of these events, they can think about the future needs. It costs sometimes to even put on the events, because sometimes you have to go above the grade. You know, you might have to call somebody from way further north or from out east to come and drum, because the other drums are at ceremonies, and those ceremonies are still important for that drum and the people who carry it. So we got to remember sometimes there is a cost, and we can't go for funding because that's what they're cutting. They're cutting our ability to be able to stand up and have a voice and to be able to socialize and educate and raise awareness to the events that are happening in our community. So one of the things we did the other night while we held a taco fundraiser, which is run much like this event, is we left it in the hands of the people. We put an idea out there to gather, and it elevated to becoming more of an info session, people sharing and educating on what's happening. Irony goes.
Where's there a bomber? Air show's over.
So, over a nice taco feast where it was done by donation. We didn't have a set fee. It was by what people could afford to give. Organizers put out their own money for the food. They didn't expect anything back because all funds were to go to Elsipogtog. We didn't have a large crowd, maybe tops 15, but we raised $325 and sent it out to Elsipogtog to help. And every little bit counts. Even if everybody e-transfers to their account, sends a quarter, $1, $2. When we put that together, count how many heads are here. That can be bail for one person. That can be one day in court. That can be the cost of a lawyer covered. That can be tents. That can be, styrofoam so that the underneath of their tents aren't cold, because these people need to keep healthy while they're standing front line, right? It's not always about just, being out there and saying you're doing it. A lot of what it takes to do it is a lot of gathering, like the old days, hunting and gathering. You've got to get your food together. You've got to get your clothes together, and you've got to have people accounted for. So if that's an idea to help you, thank you for having me speak and provide some ideas.
Where do we send it?
There is the official site set up for the sacred site. If you want to send money for bail, I actually know the email off by heart. It's charmainesock@hotmail.com. There's also an address provided to send supplies to. And there's another email provided where you can send financial donations and monetary donations to help support the camp itself. And then if anybody is traveling out that way, please ask for donations from your community. We have a lot of hunters. That meat can go a long way and feed a lot of people. There's a lot of warriors there, and there's a lot of people who are working hard, and they're very hungry.
What about cash donations?
Cash donation can be done by e-transfer. I haven't been provided a walk-in account yet, but e-transfer for bail that I know off by heart is charmainesock@hotmail.com. It's all small casing. charmainesock@hotmail.com. And when you send it, you can send a directive of how you want the money to be used.
Let's say if we wanted to donate today.
I can take it. If you want to speak to Vicky Maneg or some of the other people who know me from Idle No More, Tori Cress and I have two accounts. One's for events, which we're using for the Elsipogtog funds. The other one is usually for buses to help supply rides out to the major protests and events.
Even with tenants either side, tenants.
Well, if you'd like to, I guess if you'd like to elect me to take the pool for money, then I can do that. And before I leave, I will witness an account for all funds here before I leave. I also have Idle No More shirts if you want to get those. And all the funds and profits will also go to Elsipogtog.
Something else that we need is if anybody has any ideas, we need a place where we can start calling and hold an organizing meeting. And that needs to happen last Friday. So we need a spot to do that. From my understandings, at one time I could do anything I wanted there, but the Native Center is out, it seems like.
What a surprise.
But I was thinking Council Fire, if anybody knows or has the spot, I would say let's start coordinating that with John Fox. We need an organizing meeting, and at that meeting should people who can do things, people who are willing to do things. There's going to be a necessity for fundraising. There's going to be a necessity for looking at organizing events. In 1990, we were taken to the streets right away every day and blocking traffic. You know, and that doesn't seem like much, but what it does, it has to be done during the weekday.
Rush hour.
Because you want to stop people from getting into their offices and making money. You want to hurt them, that's the way you hurt them. So that has to be done. We need an organizing meeting immediately. So any suggestions where we can hold one? I'm going to be keeping in touch with John Fox. I'd like to start getting together tomorrow. There's things that have to be done. You know, there's people have to be contacted. Networking has to be done. I used to be able to gather a few hundred people with a phone call and a fax machine. And it seems to me that with this internet, I'm just starting to get used to it. I'm getting an old bear in that way, but it seems to me that this is even more effective. My tactic was I knew a few people to call. I would call my numbers. They would call a few people. They would call a few people, etc. But with this new internet that I'm looking at, it looks like you guys can get it out there to hundreds with the push of a button. So this stuff has to start getting coordinated. Because we need numbers. We need people. We need to start making a statement. We need to let them know that we will not allow them to harm our people. That's when I come out of the woodwork. You know, these attacks on our people have been going on too long. And it stops. As far as I'm concerned, it stops now, but I need help doing that. Miigwech!
Wena bojo ninda way magana dak me chak to kwege in the distant past maingan dodam bajing midday. Miigwech to Miss Goggins of New Credit for allowing me and my children and my brother and sister on their land here in Toronto, and I'm always thankful and acknowledge that. Many things are happening right now all over Turtle Island, and I was actually just coming to demonstrate. I didn't know we were doing some strategic planning here, but I'm grateful to be down here. I'm a counselor from Beausoleil First Nation. I brought my children with me, and I'm the water walker from Georgian Bay. Woo! Water walk! The Eagle staff that I carry ran 800 kilometers around Georgian Bay in response to various water issues. And that's why I'm here today, because of what happened with the water and what is happening with the water all along the coastline. And the only thing that I can say when I'm sitting and listening and paying attention to what's being said here is it has to be done well enough. Peaceful protest. This assault on our people only makes them look bad. It only makes the RCMP look bad. Women, children, elders being shot with rubber bullets. It makes them look bad, but we, as First Nations people and allies, we have the Creator on our side. And go out and start lighting these sacred fires, because when the sacred fire is lit here in the physical realm, it's also lit in the spirit realm. And our ancestors are going to be watching and supporting every single move we make, and it's important to always petition the spirit, especially when it comes to things like fracking. Because what I have seen in my experience is that science and spirit go hand in hand, and they have to complement each other. So when we're strategic planning, always remember that the spirit comes first. Woo! That is the spirit of this land, and I'll tell you right now, Nis the way miigwech. If you don't know who that woman is, you should learn who that woman is. Because she is the woman who controls that water. And that's what we're standing up for. She sits at the bottom of the lake doing her work to make sure that that water will forever flow for everyone. Creator promised us in that 4th level that that water will be forever flowing. But it's our job here as Anishnawbeh. It's our job. The Creator can only do so much. It's our job to make sure that water flows forever clean and pure for future generations. And as a counselor, I'll be down here. If I can make it down here, it takes me 2 hours to get down to Queen's Park, but I'll do whatever I can. I'll load up as many people as I can possibly load up and get them down here to stand in solidarity with all of you while we support our people out in New Brunswick. And the only other thing that I would have to add is that First Nations people, I see so many of you here, my brothers and my sisters. Tell your chiefs and your councils to pass BCRs in support. Put out the press releases. Tell them to stand up and tell them not to be afraid of the government anymore. Woo! Take a stand. And I'm going home and I'm telling, as a counselor, I've already been talking about that. And I'm not going to shut up and I'm not going to answer. My kids, my daughter this morning asked me, Mom, are the police going to shoot on me for being Anishnawbeh? That's the precedent that they're setting across North America, and that's not the true intent of a warrior. That's not the true intent of an Ogitata. Protectors of the people stand up and ensure that people are always protected. But no, baby, they're not going to shoot at us today. Woo! Let's hope not, anyways. Anyways, miigwech, and thank you for having me, and I hope that everybody has a good day, and we're going to stay around in case there's a march after.
So, just to keep people up to date on what we've been talking about, one of the things we've talked about is fundraising and legal support, and there is an email has been given out where direct transfers can be made, and on the Anishnawbeh Solidarity page and the page for this event, and presumably I Don't Know More Toronto and other pages, people will obviously continue posting that link, and I would encourage people to share that around. It's also been pointed out that we attempted to have a kind of strategic planning meeting around this earlier in the week. It didn't work out, and we still need a space and a plan potentially for a meeting that could be announced here or could be announced later over the page. But this is a point where we're looking for other people with things to say. Anybody? Gary's coming over.
Okay. Well, my name is Gary Washakiewicz. Do a lot of activism. A couple of days ago, we closed the Enbridge CEO meeting in over at the Metro Convention Center. It's one of the reasons why I carry this flag, because we're starting to stand up. The people that I'm with, I'm starting to stand up. I'm starting to realize what happened to me. I'm a residential stroke survivor. 60 stroke victim. Also, our reserve back home where I'm from, north of Thunder Bay, Anishnawbeh, is also going through land claims. Up there we have to deal with the mining industry. We have a highway running right through our reserve that the gold mining industry needs, international gold mines that go into other countries and kill. These are the people that we have to put up with in Anishnawbeh. But pretty soon, hopefully I want to start doing something about that. But today I want to concentrate on showing support for New Brunswick and what happened over there, the genocide that carries on today. It's been happening for 500 years. I'm tired of taking it. I'm tired of being told to sit down. I'm tired of being told to shut up. I'm tired of being told to sign your name on a dotted line. I'm tired of being, my identity being stolen. I'm tired of being labeled. I am just sick and tired of being told everything to do. My land is being taken. Resources are being taken. Money is being taken. My people live in third world conditions, not only in Mishkigogama, but also in New Brunswick, and all across the land. Like I said, I'm tired. I am sick and tired of taking it. You know, one of the things that, when I say I'm sick and tired of it, just to give you an example, I took part in the Occupy movement, and we also stopped the train in Lansdowne Viewpont because of the uranium. And we, like I said, just a little while ago, I just mentioned that we closed the Metro Convention Center down with their Enbridge. And today here, hopefully, you know, instead of standing out in the front yard, we should be inside that building telling them exactly how we feel. Not marching down the street, not marching down the Bay Street, not marching down the Queen, Nathan Phillips Square. But no, fuck that, man. We've had enough. This is where the problem is. The rich go to the politician to quell any anything that's happening, right? So the rich go to the police, the rich go to the politicians. So, you know, what we should be doing is concentrating on these buildings here. Never mind these fuckers that stand in front. Let's get inside the fucking Parliament building, man. Never mind this fucking bullshit of, doing a round dance and everything else. I'm sorry for saying stuff like that, but, you know, me, I am sick and tired of putting up with a whole lot of bullshit, man, because, you know, the genocide carries on today. I have to put up with people from back home entering the hospitals and being put into the jails and being homeless and being either mentally or physically sick. And these are the reports that I get from back home. Meanwhile, people in Toronto live like the high life. Meanwhile, CEOs and all the other people that live like, live high on the hog. Meanwhile, my people and people in New Brunswick live like shit. So, you know, it's time to stop putting up with this fucking bullshit of, being all tame and now let's go for a march, let's go for a walk. Let's go to where the fucking problem is. Let's go right to where the banks are. Let's go right to where the fucking buildings are. Right to where the CEOs are. Right to where the politicians are. Never mind the march. Never mind the walk. Let's do it now. We should have done it yesterday. We should have done it last week. We should have done it last year. We should have done it 5, 10. We should have done it 500 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Is anyone else waiting to come speak? David?
Honey? David? Anishnawbeh? Waddle Hello, can you hear me now? Alright. This is a message for my Mi'kmaq brothers and sisters. There was a time in our history where we had to hide who we were for fear of reprisal. It's only now that the Mi'kmaq people are taking back their identity. And my message is this. Some people thought that Thursday nothing happened, that there wasn't a rally. But something did happen. It was a pipe ceremony. And to us, this is a very important ceremony. So I don't want to hear from anybody that nothing happened, because it did. Now it's up to our allies to understand that you need a little bit of courage, and when these ceremonies do happen, you come to them, so that you understand what we're talking about, that you understand our culture. I'm not going to say any ideas about what we should be doing, because the trees here probably have the ears, as far as I know. All I want to say is that the Mi'kmaq people should be proud of who they are. We have suffered hundreds of years. We've had to hide who we were. That speaks volumes about this country. I don't want to hide anymore. I am Mi'kmaq. I don't have to do this anymore. So I encourage us to go to ceremony, to get spiritually strong, so that we can stand in this struggle together, strong, and as one. Because if we are not as one, we will lose. Yesterday, we were so close to that highway, it was just right down the street. We didn't go there. That's got to change.
Yadi Wagadiri under Dave Sini Waxanoda no Hoy Neha, Deno, Ginyodo, Nigarita Rondo, Onanda Waka Hodinishoni, Amanda Yinjit. Greetings, everyone. I don't know my indigenous names, but I belong to the Turtle Clan of the Onondaga Nation of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Keepers of the Western Door, and I go by Amanda. I was in Elsipogtok just last week, not too long ago. I had to come back for the NEB hearings for the Enbridge stuff. And I just wanted to say that it's really important that we explicitly support the Warrior Society, because it is the Mi'kmaq Warrior Society that is led by women, and they're doing ceremony out there, and they're working specifically for the water. And it's a number of women whose names have to do with protecting the water, who are coming together and bringing their communities together. And so I just wanted to also point out that there's a website, sacredfirenb.com, and they have a call for support on there. They also have a PayPal link for donations to go straight to the Mi'kmaq Warrior Society to help with bail. I know a couple of women, Ilnu women, who were released yesterday. They were beaten by the RCMP, but their spirits were not beaten down. And so I just wanted to point out that we have to absolutely support the Warrior Society, and because they're the ones who are holding the lines for as long as possible, at the day before the raid, and they're the ones who are going to fight this to the end, and they have the support of their community, and so we have to make sure that they can feel that support. And I really appreciate what people were saying about the spiritual strength, because I think that's really essential in order to link our struggles, but we have to be in communication also. So that's all. I just wanted to say that. Yawa.
Thank you, Amanda. Absolutely.
I've just sent a text out to Elsipogtok and some of the people who are gathering for it. We just finished raising $266.30 for Elsipogtok.
So, I don't know if there is anybody else waiting to speak. Here we go.
Hello. My name is Amber Levi. I am from Elsipogtok, New Brunswick. I am Mi'kmaq and Anishnawbeh, and I'm just here and seeing all the support and bringing it back to my family. And my family, everyone in Elsipogtok appreciates all the support we're getting across Canada and across the world, everywhere. And just I'm proud to be a Mi'kmaq and Ojibwe, and yeah, thank you very much.
So, I mean, one of the things I want to point out is that we've heard very similar things from almost everybody who's spoken about the need for supporting what's going on, and the need for resistance and linking struggles, the need for Indigenous people to reclaim land and tradition, and the need for allies to support. What we're not getting a lot of are specific kind of suggestions for next steps, which, while that had been the intention, as David pointed out, it might not actually be the smartest thing in the world for us to be making those plans really publicly over a megaphone in Queen's Park. And so given that that does seem to be the direction that things are going in, is people not wanting to put out very clear suggestions, it is my suspicion that what is likely to happen is that either a public meeting will be announced on the Anishnawbeh Solidarity site, or a less public meeting will happen that won't be publicly announced, and either some kind of protocol or specific action for next steps will then be announced. And that one of those two routes seem most likely. That having been said, I'm wondering if anyone wants to jump on the mic and add anything, because I'm not really sure where to take this from here.
Hello. Is it loud enough? Alright. There's a photo on both I Don't Know More Facebook pages. Not 100%. I haven't verified, but it identifies a man who is supposedly a RCMP and CIA informant who was responsible for the police cruisers being set on fire in New Brunswick. But again, it's not 100% and I'm not sure, but I think you guys should be aware of that. It's the same thing as G20 provocateuring. So it's very powerful interests who are capable of these things, but again, it's not 100%, but just be aware of that.
So I'm sure a lot of people have seen this image on Facebook accusing an individual of having both lit the cars on fire as well as being an informant. It is...
Don't worry, just hold on.
So I have, on very, very strong confirmation that he is not the one who lit the cars on fire. I also have on reasonably strong information that while he may be a rat, that is very different than being a paid informant, let alone a provocateur. The individual in question is somebody with a long reputation of being abusive and violent towards women. And it is in connection with people's frustration to people not taking that seriously, I believe, that this label has been attached to him as a rat. And so I wasn't planning to say this here, but I think in general, in all of our communities, whether they're indigenous communities or non-native communities, we make ourselves safer from false information and rumor mongering and from dangerous individuals by being united in the idea that when people are abusive towards people in our community, that we don't tolerate that. And I think that's important to say, but it's also important to point out that those cars were lit on fire by people who were pissed off at what the RCMP were doing. That's legitimate resistance. Maybe you don't support that kind of action, but that is a different stance than blaming it on provocateurs and delegitimizing the anger of the people who actually did it. And I'm willing to say it's confirmed that Harrison did not do that, and very, very likely that he is not a paid informant. That doesn't mean he's a good guy and you should welcome him into your circles. I didn't want to have to say any of that, but it came up. Also, there's another story going around that those were U.S. military. That is also not true. Those were RCMP. I know people who saw the badges. Please be careful around misinformation on social media. It can be very disastrous to our movements.
People cheered as every RCMP cars burned. There was like widespread joy that happened.
Yes.
You know, the community was stoked about it because they had brought in long rifles and raided their community. Their blockade was a sacred fire. And they brought in long rifles at 6 a.m. I got the call saying, we're being raided right now on the morning of, you know, and like there was no way that it wasn't people fighting back against Canadian imperialism and colonialism. They were enforcing environmental racism that day, the RCMP, and the Mi'kmaq people stood up and said no.
We've been asked to send our own people out there to to be peacekeepers, you know. I have my member of the Mi'kmaq Warrior Society who's now looking for Harrison, maybe not for the not rat stuff, but the wife beater stuff. We do not need that. As a Mi'kmaq, Mohawk, Ojibwe mix, our warrior societies do not support beating women, raping women, throwing women into fucking walls. We do not support that. So I'm sorry, Harrison. I don't care if you're a rat or not. You're done. As an abused woman who has to carry a weapon and a cell phone at all times because of another phony activist, I'm fed up with that shit. Woo!
I'm supposed to ask Liz to come on up, and John tells me we are now going to do a round dance, so I am going to give the mic back to John, I think. Thank you, everybody.
Can I do one more financial update? Another financial update. We have now reached $336.30.
Okay, we're going to do our round dance now, so to show the community of New Brunswick and our people down there to just a very sacred dance. It's a very healing dance for the people, and Liz is going to be here explaining also a little bit about it, and also like she traveled a long ways doing this. She's always involved with our people in a good way, and to heal our people, and so she's very. Let's give her the respect. Let's give Liz a big round of applause, folks. Come on. All the work she's been doing. The water walk. Yeah, she's been doing this for a long time. So, she's going to explain a little bit about the round dance so that we all know, okay?
Oh, sorry. I'm not going with this.
Our singers are going to be ready here. We're going to sing a round dance for us. Solidarity of our brothers and sisters out east. So we want to be here to support them. That's why we're here today. So I want to say Jimmy Gwetch to those singers that traveled all the way from Fort Erie to be here for this rally here today. So I just want to say Jimmy Gwetch. So that would be Bill Davis and Gary Parker from Fort Erie. Jimmy Gwetch for traveling all this way. So we're going to do this round dance now. Jimmy Gwetch.
Are you guys still okay to hold each other's hands to go around? Yeah. If you want to go ahead. Yeah. Everybody will call the group wise.